Alright, two birds with one stone today. Two questions I get asked all the time since I started this channel is number one, what's the difference between open back and closed back headphones? And number two, what headphone do I recommend for both music and gaming? For a lot of you, this will be reviewed today, but if you've never experienced an open back headphone before, you've always been curious but afraid to ask, or if you've been a little intimidated about the idea of moving past a USB gaming headset, this one's for you. You ready? Let's go. Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching Bad Seed Tech, and today we're talking about the difference between open and closed back headphones, why you should even care about open back headphones, and my personal recommendation for both music and games, my favorite all-rounder headphone, hands down, the Drop Sennheiser collab, the HD58X. For transparency, Drop did send out the HD58X that's featured in today's video, but as you should know by now, it does not affect my opinion in any way. I'd also like to point out real quick before we get started that there are way more detailed, way more scientific explanations than the one you're gonna hear today. That information is certainly out there if you'd like to know more, but I have a tendency to explain things in more accessible, real-world terms as if I were talking to a friend. And we're cool, like we're friends, right? So, open back versus closed back. What's the deal? Well, for starters, you should know that that designation is literally talking about the rear of the ear cup on a headphone, whether it's open or closed. This one, obviously, is closed. A closed back will be what you'll find on like the vast majority of gaming headsets, most like consumer portable headphones and studio headphones, and they offer one big advantage over open back, and that's isolation. Isolation means you're going to reduce the amount of noise that you hear from the outside world when you have your headphones on, and it also prevents other people from hearing what's going on inside your headphones. Because the design of these headphones often forms a seal to the head, it has the side effect of being able to more easily and effectively reproduce bass tones. In gaming, this can create a very immersive experience because you feel every like explosion, rumble of an engine, thump of suppressed gunfire, etc. But if you game competitively, you know that's really not what you want. You're looking for little hints, cues, footsteps, bullet zings, delicate sounds that you don't want buried in the mix under a lot of bass and sub-bass. With an open back headphone or headset, it literally means that the outside of the ear cup is open, so you can hear everything that's going on around you, and people around you can hear what you're listening to in your headphones. They're gonna hear it at a greatly reduced volume versus what you're hearing. It's what we call sound leak. So an obvious question here is, why would you want that? Well, open back headphones offer a few key advantages over closed backs, but the main one by far is soundstage. Think of this as if you're sitting in front of speakers listening to music in a room instead of two tiny speakers pointed right into your ears. This can make the music feel bigger, more like you'd naturally perceive audio happening around you in the real world, and it can create the illusion of distance. And that plays a really important role in gaming. Imagine soundstage simply as how large the world around you feels based strictly on audio. When an open back headphone does soundstage right, this can translate into making a really epic looking in-game world feel really epic as well. Imagine like Witcher 3 or GTA 5 or any of the Far Cry games, any game where you really want that world to feel sonically as open and as big as it looks on screen, which actually applies to a lot of games. The other advantage here is that soundstage works hand in hand with imaging. Imaging just means where a sound seems positioned in the mix. Is it off to your far left, right in front of you, behind you? When combined with soundstage, you not only get a sense of which direction a sound is coming from, but how far away it is as well. So you can probably put together how this could really work to your advantage in competitive gaming, especially if you know the maps really well. Sometimes the sound a footstep makes on a surface, like wood, metal, snow, combined with the perception of distance can help you know exactly where that enemy is located. It's like that far-off gunfire in a battle royale that gives away the enemy's position. In music, open backs oftentimes have the effect of making highs and mid-highs feel smoother, more open. And in some cases, it can add what people call air or sparkle to the high end. What that basically means is it creates like this shimmery, ethereal effect on the high end register. And if you've never experienced this for yourself firsthand, you really owe it to yourself. An open back design can also offer you a little security where the isolation of a closed back design may do more harm than good. Wearing open backs at home means I can game or listen to music, but I can still hear the door. I can hear if somebody's trying to get my attention, and sometimes it just prevents that weird feeling from being too isolated from what's happening around you. In public, like walking through the city downtown, it means I can still enjoy my music, but still be very aware of what's going on around me, whether that's people or traffic. For me, it was a total game changer. I always tell people, if you've not experienced open back headphones, you're really missing out. I don't know a single person out there that prefers closed back to open back unless it's a specific need for isolation, like plane rides, the gym, coffee shops, public transportation, easily annoyed roommates, etc. So now that we put a fine point on the differences, the next question I get asked all the time is which one do I recommend? And for me, that's a really easy answer. The drop Sennheiser HD58X. This is the absolute easiest and safest recommend because it's a solid all-rounder. It sounds way better than it costs, which is like $160. I know, it's not cheap, but it punches way above its weight class. It does a lot of things right for both music and gaming, but more importantly, it doesn't really do anything wrong. For starters, it's a safe recommend because you don't need a discrete or separate DAC or headphone amp. So if budget's a concern or you just find the whole DAC amp conversation confusing or intimidating, you don't need one for this headphone. And if you are puzzled by the whole DAC amp thing, I've got a video coming out in the next few weeks that's gonna tackle all that stuff. So the HD58X is a really simple, understated design. It's super lightweight too at 260 grams. It does have some clamping force out of the box, especially if you have a larger head, but just give it some time to break in, it's very comfortable. It will also adjust to fit very small and very large heads. The cable design here is a removable 2-pin split cable, which means you will have a cable coming from both the left and right ear cup. It's a mostly plastic frame with a spring steel headband, little bit of swivel, healthy amount of tilt. There's medium density foam in the headband with like this little divot in the top cut out where the crown of your head fits. The pads are velour as well, and they're oval shaped. This is an over-ear headphone, but they taper in, so my ears do actually touch the tapered part, but they don't make contact with the pad directly over the driver itself. I don't have any issues with eyeglasses either. I can wear these for hours on end because one of the other benefits of the open back design is that they breathe a lot better than a closed back, so you don't have to worry about heat buildup over time. You also don't have to worry about audio fatigue, which is just a way of saying that your ears need a rest after getting pounded with music for a while. You see this a lot more on closed back headphones. Okay, let's talk sound. Overall impressions, clean, crisp, fast, punchy. Fast just means that a sound hits and then disappears quickly so another sound can start again, as opposed to a long note sustaining out. Pretty safe, pretty neutral, which is just another way of saying that the design of the headphone does not impact the overall music presentation at all. It kind of delivers it to you as it's intended to be. Again, this is an all-rounder pick. See, what can happen when you start spending money on hi-fi headphones is that you begin to notice that different brands and different designs have different sonic characteristics, and that can result in you having a different pair of headphones that you use for each specific application. It can be a very expensive rabbit hole. And that's what makes the HD58X great, because you can buy it, be totally satisfied, and stop there. Never know any better. And your wallet will thank you. Trust me. So highs come off as neutral and detailed. There is some sparkle and airiness, but not a lot, and it's really on a track-by-track basis. But these highs never get shouty or peaky or harsh or any number of terms that essentially just mean unpleasant in some way. They're just a little dry. This is a factor that makes it great for gaming as well, as the highs are super detailed and not colored. Mids are a little forward, which just means they're slightly emphasized, but again, they're not colored in any way. Pretty dry, pretty neutral. Not as pronounced for me as like the 6XX, which feels like they're like right up against your ears. In my mind, this makes the soundstage on the 6XX feel tighter or smaller than the 58X. So the mids are solid, but not remarkable, and they don't negatively impact the soundstage. And the bass is actually pretty surprising for an open back. It doesn't thump hard like a closed back headphone will, but it's there, and it fits really nice in the mix. And it doesn't sound like fake emphasized either to compensate for the open back design. It definitely does its job, but again, it's fast and punchy. Little sustain, but no big round tonality, and no sub bass. That's that big thump or rumble. It does exactly what bass is supposed to do. It adds weight and warmth, and in this case, it does that without feeling fake or exaggerated. Again, in gaming, it offers that punch in certain spots, but it doesn't compromise the little cues that you're listening for. Imaging left, right, and forward is very well executed. Rear positioning for me is good to okay, and vertical positioning is very similar, and that really varies by track you're listening to or game that you're playing. The soundstage here will outperform most every closed back. Versus other open backs, it's good. It's not excellent, so the soundstage is not like DT990 or K7XX good, but it's totally workable. So overall, these feel very accurate and very neutral to me. They do a good to great job at just about everything. And the one thing they do really, really well is detail. But the sum of all factors is what pretty much makes it the all-rounder headphone for me. They're fun without feeling fake, and they're neutral without feeling boring. Again, these headphones will be really easy to drive with your phone, your onboard audio, or console controller. You don't need a separate amp. All you're gonna get if you move to one really is more volume. I don't notice any significant changes to the sonic characteristics of this specific headphone by going to a discrete headphone amp. These are an easy win for music listening, but if you do plan on using these for gaming, you will need some sort of microphone as well, either a desktop USB mic or some sort of mod mic solution, which would be my personal choice. If the idea of a separate mic sounds too complex for you, or you don't have any desire to ever wear your headphone or headset out of the house, you can also take a look at the PC37X. It's a redesign of the Sennheiser Game 1s, and we'll be taking a look at that in an upcoming video very shortly. Ask me if you should try an open back headphone, and I'm gonna tell you yes 100% of the time. Ask me which one, and unless you have some very specific tastes in audio, I'm gonna recommend the HD58X 99% of the time. And in case I haven't specifically stated it, this headphone will absolutely destroy like the vast majority of gaming headsets out there. Affiliate links are available in the description below if you'd like to grab a set, and I should mention that Drop is actually offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, so that's huge. They've never done that. So if you get these and they just don't hit the mark for you, it's zero risk. Any questions on anything I covered today, just hit me up in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or drop by the Discord and I'll try to get you fixed up. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.